Hi there, my name's John Stevens, pastor of Zion Lutheran Church in Oregon City, Oregon, and we're part of the ELCA, and welcome to Dollar Store Children's Sermons, where we take the lectionary text and we tie them to an item from the Dollar Tree. This is for the 26th Sunday after Pentecost. We're getting close to the end of the church year. We're not there yet. 26th Sunday after Pentecost, and we are looking at the gospel lesson out of Mark. And the whole gospel lesson is kind of end-time-ish as we get near the end of the church year. That's our text turned that way. And we can sometimes go, okay, children's sermon out of this. All right. And there's this underlying, even though we're at the end of the church year, there's still this idea of waiting, that we're anticipating something greater. That here Jesus is talking about there are going to be people that say, I am he, and all this, but no, that's be on the lookout, wait and hope and all those things that are very Adventish. It's like that crossing of time in between the end of the church year and the beginning of the new one. So what to do with this? Well, if you look up in 2015, I have a Dollar Store Children's Sermons where we talk about the permanence of God's love. And that's, I think, also an important thing to drive home. And I use a permanent marker. You don't even actually have to look it up. I'll just tell you it right now. You use a permanent marker, a Sharpie, and talk about what that word permanent means. That when my son was a kid, he's still a kid, but when he was much younger, he got into our paints. And he painted a painting, and he went outside the lines, and there was this nice outline of paint, and that was permanent. Try as we might, I could not get that paint out of the carpet. I tried everything. That was permanent. It reminded me of God's love. The idea that, yes, I've got a lot of color Sharpies if you notice that, but the permanent tells us that permanent, it's there. And if we say God's love is permanent, that's what these texts remind me of, is that God, even in our questions, even in our worry, God continually reminds us of God's permanent love. So, there's that. That was a few years ago. And it works great. The direction I'm going this year is the idea of waiting and anticipation. But the beginning of birth pangs. That waiting and that anticipation. So, I'm going to use a cooking timer. Now, you can either use a cooking timer that they've got them at the Dollar Tree that's specifically for that. You could use your cell phone that you put in a timer. My grandmother used to have a game she called the waiting game. It was a version of solitaire that she would play. It was a rummy game that she would play two hands, and she would wait as she was waiting for someone to come. And this idea of that when she would do that, it made time. It seemed like time went faster. Anyway, but we do things as we wait, and that anticipation. If we have a cooking timer, the idea that when your mom or dad, or maybe you're helping, and you've made cookies, and you've put the cookies in the cookie baker. Yeah, you put the cookies in the oven. Wow. All right. You put the cookies in the oven, and I'm going to call my oven now that's because that's the only thing it does. It's the cookie baker. Put the cookies in the cookie baker, and as it bakes, and you can smell that smell, and you're like, oh, that anticipation, that hope. And then in the gospel lesson, even though there's this chaos, that underneath it, this sense that we have a hope and we wait, and it's with joy because we know what's coming. And that's the promise. God's permanence in love, but that God's love is trustworthy and good. So, anyway, I hope some of that can be a springboard for your own thinking. I now want to go down to the cookie baker and make some cookies because now I'm hungry. So anyway, thanks for stopping by. I hope you have a fantastic week and have a blessed Sunday.